Have Ian do the intro. Get in front of the camera. Show his face. All right, coming. I'm gonna count you in. Coming in 5, 4, 4, 3. You're on.
Hello, we're at Mountlake Terrace where a softball game is taking place. His Mountlake Terrace versus
No go. Why not? No.
And welcome to Mountlake Terrace High School, the site of today's Edmonds School District / Wesco 3A South softball game between the home team, the Mountlake Terrace Hawks, and the visitors, the Meadowdale Mavericks. These two teams both in playoff contention. Well, Meadowdale already clinching a spot as they have a 2-game lead on the division. Mountlake Terrace currently in 4th place. You need to finish in the top 4 in order to make the playoffs and make districts, and that's what they're fighting for as we are underway. The first pitch of the game from Kira Doan. Kira facing Caitlin Webster, the center fielder. Doan winds, gets ready to pitch. Webster fouls that one up over our heads and out of play. Scoreboard now showing a count of 1 ball and 2 strikes. Doan pitching to battery mate Ashley Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald playing catcher today. We have plenty of statistics, softball, and even a few fun interviews coming up here as we've got a few things planned in store for you tonight as we broadcast this game. Ball was outside. Ball 1, 1 and 2. Scoreboard was already showing 1 and 2, but it was incorrect. 1-2 count to Webster. Swings and hits that one into center field, dropping in front of the center fielder for a base hit. That's Sammy Harder out there playing in center. Caitlin Webster gets on base, leading off the game, and that's going to bring up the first baseman, Julia Rubel. Rubel, a player we've seen all over the field here in her first few years at Meadowdale. Slices that one into right field, and the ball is caught. And getting the ball in quickly, that's Gabby Calhoun playing right field today. Calhoun makes the catch, 1 away, and that's going to bring up number 5, Haley Costello. Costello playing shortstop. Doan winds, and here comes the first pitch. Ball 1, a little bit high. 1-0 is the count to Costello. Meadowdale coming into this game with a record in conference play of 11 wins and 2 losses, giving them a 2-game edge over Linwood and Edmonds Woodway. At 9-4, swung on and missed. Strike 1, 1-1 is the count. Mountlake Terrace trailing Meadowdale by 4 games, so they are 2 games behind both Linwood and Edmonds Woodway. And then they've got a 2-game cushion over Glacier Peak for that 4th and final spot. Outside ball 2, 2-1 is the count. One on, one away here in the first inning. No score. Swung on and missed. Strike 2, 2-2 now the count to Costello. The catcher, Emma Helm, in the on-deck circle. We know Helm has power. Always a threat, hitting in that cleanup role. Swung on and hit just barely foul down the third baseline over a diving Jazz Zink. 2-2 count still on here for Costello. Looking at your infield for the Hawks, Lauren Miller playing first base, Hannah Wilcox over at second. We already mentioned Jazz Zink at third, a very dirty Jazz Zink after diving for that ball. Sammy Ruiz playing short, going for the steal on the play. Did not see the call. They are calling her out. Great throw by Fitzgerald. Down to Ruiz, who was covering the base, makes the tag. 2 away on the caught stealing, so nobody on base. 2 out here. To Costello. Fouled off over our heads and out of play. And now looking at the outfield for the Mountlake Terrace Hawks. Cassandra Carricker playing left field. We already mentioned Sammy Harder in center. Gabby Calhoun playing right field. Everybody batting for themselves today. Ball is popped up to shallow right field. Going back is the second baseman, Hannah Wilcox, and she makes the catch. 3 batters up, 3 batters out, and we head to the bottom of the first inning. No score. You're watching the Sound Alive Sports Network. And welcome back to the Sound Live Sports Network. Steve Willits will be joined shortly here by Vince DeMiro. Looking at your Meadowdale Mavericks starting lineup here out in the field. Samantha Gregoric is your pitcher today. Emma Helm playing catcher. Over at first base, Julia Rubel, second base, Sierra Hart. As Kira Doan, the pitcher for the Mountlake Terrace Hawks, takes the first pitch strike. Haley Costello is your shortstop. Mackenzie Bevan is your third baseman. Playing left field, Madison Boucher. Center fielder is Caitlin Webster, and your right fielder is Oliva Weiner. We also have a designated player as Haley Taylor will be batting today in place of Weiner. Ball is fouled off, 3-2 count. And Vince, do we have you mic'd up here now?
I think so. I think I'm on here now.
I hear you loud and clear. Vince
right,
DeMuro
man.
joining us right now.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been on the old Sound Live Sports Network. It's been a busy spring.
I wasn't sure you were still around. Good to have you. Always good to have you.
Yeah, a lot has happened since we were last together.
You've got, what, a couple more grandkids now?
I got a full outfield of grandsons.
You do have 3 of them now.
I do, yep.
I don't think they're quite ready for the outfield yet.
One of them is pretty close, I'll tell you that. He just turned 2 and he's ready.
Does not seem like your oldest grandchild is 2 years old, as
Yeah.
I remember when he was born. But
Yep.
time flies, my friend.
That's right.
Speaking of time flying, we've broadcasted a few games between these two teams in the past.
Absolutely, some great games, Steve.
Always good matchups. And once again this year, both of these teams vying for a playoff spot. Meadowdale, of course, has gone to 3 straight state tournaments. Ooh, and that one hits Doan right in the head. Shakes that one off, and she's going to head on down to first base. Put her on base, and that will bring up Gabby Calhoun. I think we're going to try to get Beth Marriott here in a minute, the athletic and activities coordinator for Meadowdale.
Great.
She is here, and I picked her off right before we went on the air and asked her if she could come on the air. She's not staying very long. She's got to get over to a soccer game tonight, so she's a very busy lady, but thought it might be fun to throw her on the air for a short time. And then at some point, I think we've got the new head football coach at Mountlake Terrace High School, Kelly Dugan, joining us. Kelly also with a busy schedule today, so we're probably going to have him for a very short time, but we hope to have him soon. And I think Angelo's got a third headset hooked up for us here, so if we bring those folks over in a minute, we can get them on as he's getting ready to hook that up.
Pretty exciting. A lot of things going on here in spring with all kinds of sports for Terrace.
Calhoun laying down the bunt is
Beautiful.
thrown out at first base. However, on the play, the sacrifice is executed as Doan ends up down at second. Nothing wrong with that play at all, and that will bring up the always dangerous Hannah Wilcox.
It's a pretty bunt. Executed very nicely by the Hawks. Calhoun getting it down in a position where we knew that the base runner was going to be able to advance.
Wilcox always seems to bring her A game when we're broadcasting on the Sound Live Sports Network. We've seen her in a handful of occasions here, and we've got both of our guests that I just mentioned are here, so we're gonna have to get both of them on the air here in a second.
I'm glad to give up the headset for this one, man. This is great.
We might do that in a second.
Sure.
I do have to get Beth on before she leaves too, so we'll check with Kelly here in just a minute. Kelly's got until about 4:30ish. Is that 4:45? So we will we'll put maybe Beth Marriott on for about 5 minutes and then get to Kelly afterwards and get the perspective of both Meadowdale and Mountlake Terrace, as we are a all-encompassing district program, right? We want to make sure we give everybody equal time here. A lot going on for both schools right now.
Yeah, my money's on the team that starts with an M.
Yeah, I think you've got a good shot at winning the game here today.
Staying away from Wilcox, aren't they?
Yeah, I do not blame them. It's 1-1 count, especially when you have the open base in first.
Yeah, why not?
And I know Shannon Rasmussen, the coach of Mountlake Terrace, sent us some stats right before we went on the air, so we'll try to read those off of the old power of the iPhone here before it's all said and done. Keep looking up at the scoreboard for the count, and I don't think it's correct. There we go. 3-1 now.
3-1, yeah.
They're a little bit behind there. They only have a 1-1 showing, but I knew that we were much further into this at-bat than that. Wilcox gets jammed off the hands and fouls that one off, so full count to Hannah.
Fortunate that wasn't caught. A little pop-up there.
We talked about the state tournament a minute ago. Hannah, I remember in that first game of the state tournament down in Lacey, there we go. I was trying to down to Lacey 2 years ago. Down to first game of the tournament, down to the final pitch.
Yep.
Mountlake Terrace losing by 1 at the time, or was trailing by 1 in the 7th inning. 1 strike away from the game ending, and Hannah parked one over the fence, sent it into extra innings.
The rest is history.
Well, unfortunately, they lost the game.
Yeah, but that was a great tournament.
Hannah had 4 home runs during the 4 games that she played in at the tournament against arguably some of the best pitchers in the state, and she almost hit that one fair. Just to the left of the left field line.
No, you're right, Steve. That was a pretty special time and a kind of a pivotal point in this program's history here in the last several years, because at that tournament, if my recollection is right, there were 11 women on the team and 11 women in the program. Am I saying that about right?
Yeah, they had one backup for the state tournament, and they managed to – they were one of the last 8 teams standing. Yep. All 4. Wilcox walks.
Yep, way to lay off that outside pitch, too. It was a good pitch.
She heads on down to first base. Got a little bit of a conference going here, and finally they're ready to go. And hey, look who we've got here. Let's make sure that we've got her on here. I think I will have you talk here real quick to see if you're on.
I'm talking.
I hear you. There we go, loud and clear.
Right.
Beth Marriott, the athletic/activities director, right? Get the title right. Meadowdale High School. And we were just talking a little bit before the game started here as Grigorek fires one in. Ball one. 1-0 is the count. You've been a very busy lady this spring, hiring a few new coaches you're in the process of right now, and you got yourself a new basketball coach last week.
I do. I'm proud to say that we landed Roger O'Neill, and we can't be more pleased. I'm just so excited that he wanted to join us as much as we wanted him to join.
That's a name that
that's a familiar name,
the folks at Meadowdale know very well, right? Yeah. The O'Neill name.
Absolutely.
And that ball is lined into left center field, into the gap, going all the way to the fence. One run is in. And actually, Wilcox is going to come towards the plate. She is thrown out, tagged at the plate. As Emma Helm diving over to get a hand on her back as she went by her. And Beth, I know you didn't like to see the run come across the plate, but you had to be happy that the out was made there.
That was an amazing stretch by Emma. Amazing. That girl, she knows what she's doing, and she keeps a calm head.
So Wilcox thrown out at the plate.
Maybe a little bit of a hesitation there on third base. Otherwise, it may have been even closer, huh?
Yeah, she was not sure if she was going at first. I think she, at one point, realized that the ball was a little bit further than she thought it was. And like you said, Vince, if she had maybe gone a little second earlier, it might be 2-0. But at any rate, it is 1-0 now.
Play, yeah.
Should mention that on the play, Fitzgerald, who gets the RBI, ends up at second base. Give her an RBI double. Ball is outside. So Roger O'Neill, again, played at the school. His two sisters who had great careers at Meadowdale. And there might even be other siblings more than that. I'm not even sure. But Roger had a great career there before going on to St. Martin's to play basketball. Was it an easy decision for you guys?
Well, we had a lot of great candidates. So it wasn't an easy decision, but it was the right decision. We know that Roger's heart is with Meadowdale and with our community. He put it all out there that this was his dream job, and he just didn't think it would come to him so early in his career, but we're excited to have him.
Yeah, younger coach, like you mentioned. I don't even know the exact age, but played at the school within the last, I guess it was 10 years or so, and that ball gets down in left field. Coming in to score is Fitzgerald. We've now got a 2-0 game. That was Jazz Zink, who, the freshman, by the way, who's having a phenomenal year so far. She picks up an RBI single and then is thrown out at second base.
No, she's not thrown out.
She's not thrown out, okay.
Yep.
Saw her running back over there. I guess she was just putting her.
Right, but you're right to call it a single. She reached second during the throw that was coming into home or cut off by the pitcher there, our first baseman. So
we've got a 2-0 ball game now. It's going to bring up Sammy Ruiz with one away here. And again, the scoreboard operators doing us a lot of favors. Is not showing any outs, but we know there's at least two now because, well, we've watched both of them. So, Beth, happy about the Roger O'Neill hire. That ball's inside, ball one. You also have a little bit of work to do in other areas. You've still got to hire a few more coaches, right?
I certainly do. I've got a head football job, and we do have a candidate in mind. We're just waiting to see how things play out with the district. He's a teacher, and of course, in order to make this a great deal, we need to find him that teaching position as well.
Sure.
So that's not an easy thing to do sometimes in the Edmond School District. We've got some real quality teachers. So.
Was that a prerequisite for the hire to have somebody in building? Or I know different athletic directors have different opinions on that. They vary.
It wasn't a prerequisite, but it was certainly something that our committee felt was very important. They really wanted that on-site presence.
Strike two, 1-2 is the count. So we can maybe think that is going to happen next week, the announcement?
I'm hoping.
Potentially? Okay.
I'm hoping. I've been kind of waiting and waiting. So that's my sincere hope that maybe next week we can make an announcement.
Ruiz takes that one in the dirt, 2-2 count, 2-0 here in the first inning. And girls basketball.
Girls basketball. We are in the process of looking at our candidates, and we hope to begin those interviews next week and have an announcement for you probably by Wednesday or Thursday.
Okay. All other positions full right now?
All other positions. Well, okay. So
Are you
if I
looking
can
for a
put-
job, Steve?
Just want to make sure we're getting all of our bases covered. No,
Sure,
no pun intended on the field here.
That was a great pun, by the way. I am looking
I'm
for
full of them.
JV girls soccer. So if you know anything about soccer, I'd love to have you.
Okay. By the way, soccer, great
Yeah.
season. You're heading over to a game tonight, is that
I'm
correct?
absolutely heading over. It'll be senior night tonight at the Edmonds Stadium with our boys being honored around 7 o'clock, and then the game takes place at 7:30.
And the boys, I know, spent most of the season undefeated in league play until recently.
They have done a phenomenal job under our new head coach, Brian Monroe-Jones. Thrilled to have him. Boys are loving the season. They're having a great time. And yeah, we did get one that slipped past us. I'm going to say I was away and out of town, so that's why I'm excited to get back to the stadium and watch them tonight because every game I've ever went to, they've done phenomenally.
Well, and I have to commend you because you just mentioned that it sounds like you go to most of their games as Ruiz hits that one over to first. Ends the inning, but 2 runs do come across. We're going to keep it right here as we want to talk to Beth for a little longer. It is 2-0 Mountlake Terrace after 1 inning of play. But how important is that for you? Because I know that having covered a lot of these sports now, I feel like every time I'm at a Meadowdale game of any sort, you are there. And case in point today, you're going to stick around for a couple of innings right now, and then you're heading over to the soccer game. I think if you had decided to skip the softball game today and not made the commute all the way over from Meadowdale, I don't think anybody would have faulted you. But how important is it for you to be here in something like this?
Well, first of all, I love my softball girls. I just love to come and watch them. I played softball when I was in high school. In fact, when fast pitch, actually it was slow pitch back when I was in high school, but I played in the 70s, and so this is something that just kind of takes me back, so I get really excited about it. And then I have a lot of family friends whose kids play for us on the soccer team. My husband loves soccer. He's a Mountlake Terrace Hawk.
I was just going to mention that.
Yeah.
That's right.
But, he still remembers hating Meadowdale when he was here. And so he joins me a lot. And I think that's what makes it work, is that he's willing to play the role of JV AD or assistant AD and help me out and come to these events and get to know the kids. And that's what makes it work.
It's a family affair.
It's a family affair, absolutely.
And I need to ask you what you think of your softball team. Dennis obviously has taken 3 straight teams to the state tournament. Third place finish at state 2 years ago. You look like you might be on your way back.
I'm hoping. I've got my fingers crossed. Last year, sadly enough, I was getting ready for prom and I did not get into the car and get down to Lacey in time to see the girls participate. I was there when they won the third place finish, and that was an amazing opportunity for them. And I do think they can get back there, and I'm excited for them because I will tell you, they are having fun.
Yeah, it will.
That's one thing I see the girls quite often, and I ask them, "Are you having fun?" They are having a great time, and they're being successful doing it.
Yeah, when you're 11-2, it always makes it a little bit easier to have fun too, doesn't it?
It does, but that doesn't negate the fact that they still got to go out and practice all the time, and they still got to work through those kinks in their batting or in their plays, and they're having fun doing it.
And speaking of one of them that's having fun, Emma Helm, who's at the plate here, she's a phenomenal player, isn't she?
She certainly is. And we've got a great group of girls coming up as well, and a new JV coach, Nancy Ann Berman, who's over at the middle school right now with her team. So I think Meadowdale softball is well on its way to another visit, I hope, to Lacey, and then for years to come have a strong program.
No, definitely. And before I let you go, anything else on the horizon here for Meadowdale that we should be keeping an eye on? Any big events or?
Well, I'll put a plug in for our drama department, who is showcasing Footloose tonight in their final weekend. I had a chance to see the show last night. So,
nice.
So I did some softball, I did some tennis, I did the track, and then I went off to Footloose, and it was jazz hands all the way. So we had a great time, and I certainly hope people will go and support the drama as well.
And tonight is the last night of that production, is that correct?
It is not.
Oh, it's not? Okay.
You're in luck. We've got a Saturday evening show and a 2 o'clock matinee on Saturday.
So Saturday, do you know what times those are off the top of your head? Or
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
And 7 o'clock on Saturday.
Okay.
And then, if you want to wrap up your weekend with a lot of exciting stuff, head over here to Mountlake Terrace for the part of Edmund's
That's right, yeah.
fashion show, which is being hosted here at Mountlake Terrace High School. The fashion show starts at 2, and you can start buying dresses from 3 to 5.
There's going to be a ton of things going on here tomorrow. It's a busy day here for the community itself. So not only can you catch a fashion show, you can get your car washed. There's a barbecue.
Now the fashion
bazaar.
Fashion on Sunday.
Fashion show's
it's on Sunday, okay.
So
Okay.
you can have
So you can spend your whole weekend here.
your
That's
whole
right, yeah.
weekend supporting Edmund School District and all the wonderful things they
Great
do.
causes, too, yeah.
Haley
Definitely.
Taylor at the plate right now.
Now, the musical is where? Is that at Meadowdale?
It's at Meadowdale,
Okay.
yes.
Great.
Footloose, too, a great musical if nobody's my generation, obviously, we grew up with the movie, but I'm sure
yeah.
a lot of the younger folks maybe don't know about Footloose, but if they don't, they should get over and check it out. That ball is hit deep into right center field. Back.
That's our girl.
And it's over the fence.
Our girl.
Haley Taylor tying this one up. 2-2 with the 2-run home run. Helm comes in to score in front of her. Well, you mentioned that you missed the soccer game and the guys lost. You're here at the softball game. You come on the air with us, and Taylor hits one over the fence.
There it is. It's just what I do. It's what I do.
Amongst many other things, right? On a personal note, you were telling me that you've got a few kids graduating this year, too.
I do, absolutely. I have my my Edmonds Woodway graduate who is now going to be graduating from UT with her master's, and she's going to work for the Longhorns, too. She's going to be an academic advisor for the School of Government in Austin, Texas.
Wow, good for her.
And not to be shown up, my Wazoo girl is graduating next weekend. So I've got 2.
Well, congratulations on that. Busy spring, but it sounds like a lot of fun.
It is. It's a lot of fun. And that's why I'm here, because they're in college.
Well, I'll let you get back to enjoying the game and also getting ready for that soccer game. But, Beth, always a pleasure to have you on here.
Pleasure to have you as well.
Thank you.
you so much.
No,
Take care, guys.
appreciate it.
All right,
Thanks.
nice seeing you again.
Beth Marriott joining us for a few minutes.
Have fun, guys.
Thanks again, Beth. And we're now looking at a 2-2 score here in the second inning. And we're going to get our other guest on here in just a moment. So we want to make sure we catch him before he leaves. We had our Meadowdale representative there. Now we're going to have a Mountlake Terrace representative here in a minute. A guy who is very popular right now in the local news. I'm sure. I don't know. Did you guys do a story for the Hawkeye?
It's been on the Hawkeye, yeah. In fact, I think MLT News picked it up and ran it, too.
I did notice when I went to MLTnews.com that Irvin wrote the story, one of your Hawkeye staff members. So it's good to always see the high school kids getting involved with that.
Yeah, I kind of made my intentions very well known. I said, hey, this is a big story. You got an opportunity to break one. You better be the first with it, and you better be right with it. They heard me. They heard me, and they did a great job with it. So.
By the way, Sierra Hart walking on the play, so she's on first base representing the go-ahead run. That will bring up the pitcher, Sam Gregorek, and Gregorek lines one into the gap. Left center field. Hart is on third base. He's going to hold up right there, so she's on third. Gregorek standing up at second base with the double. Still nobody out here in the top of the second inning. 2 on, 2 already in this 2-2 game. A lot of 2s there.
Yep.
That will bring up number 9, Madison Boucher. As Fitzgerald's going to go have a word with Doan, the pitcher.
Yeah, that first inning, she was just on fire. And now this inning, no outs yet, and 2 runs in and 2 on. Struggling a little bit here.
And I think at this time we're going to go ahead and introduce our next guest. And I guess other than maybe doing a newspaper interview, this is your first audio interview as the head coach of the Mountlake Terrace Hawks football team as of yesterday.
Yeah, sure
Kelly Dugan, congratulations. Welcome.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
That's fantastic.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Vince.
So let's give everybody your background a little bit. I have a feeling most of the folks who are listening on the Mountlake Terrace side of things know who you are because you're pretty recognizable around here just because of all your activities that you're involved with, and both as somebody who is involved with community events and also a community business owner. So Kelly, you own Sorelli Pizza down the street.
Yep, I've owned Sorelli Pizza since 09.
Since 1909 or 2009.
I'm really old.
Should be interesting to see how you do.
Yeah,
Before Mountlake Terrace was incorporated. That ball's going to get down in shallow left field. Coming in to score is Sierra Hart. Makes it a 3-2 game. Gregorek had to hold up as she wasn't sure if that was going to drop. So give Boucher an RBI single as she puts the team in the lead.
So you've been there for 6 years, huh, Kelly?
Yeah.
Boy.
I got over the hump, the 2 years. or
Yeah,
whatever
that's
they
right.
say it is.
That's the sticky point right there.
Yeah.
Well, good for you. We sure enjoy eating at Sorelli's. Always have. Since you guys took over.
Yeah, we had it. It was your headquarters.
That's right.
one
That's
year.
right. Absolutely, it was.
Mackenzie Beaven now at the plate. The first pitch getting away from Fitzgerald, and on the play, Gregoric heads on down to third. So
We've had some fun stuff there because we did Devontae Downs'
Right.
Army All-American
That's right.
thing a couple years ago, or a year ago, I guess.
the ball is lined sharply over towards the Mountlake Terrace dugout. Everybody getting down safely. 1-1 count. So Kelly, you've owned Sorelli's for 6 years, but really you've been a large part of this community for much longer than that. Give us your background as far as youth athletics are concerned and what you've done.
So I've been coaching football up here since '98. I started with the MTYAA youth football organization, and I took over the presidency of that in somewhere mid-'99, and still doing that. I became the freshman head coach at Mountlake Terrace in 2013, so 2 seasons there.
2-1 count to Beaven. Now, as far as the presidency of the MTYA, is that something you're going to plan to continue to do as the head football coach at the high school? Is there
Now that's a
any issue there?
responsibility I'm going to have to give up just from a time commitment standpoint. So I've got a really good guy. His name's Joe Disney. He's a community guy. He's got
Sure.
3
Yeah,
kids and
yeah.
they go to
Daughter's
school
here.
around
Yeah.
here. Yep. So he'll take it over. Yeah, it's just I can't have 2 equipment rooms and 2 sets of uniforms and 2 sets of parents and 2 sets of huge numbers of players and all that stuff. So
Well, in some cases, I guess you'd have one set of parents with kids in both places, right?
definitely in
a little
some
bit, yeah.
cases, yeah.
We've seen plenty of that.
Yeah. But I'll still be really involved. It'll be a little transition for this year, so I'm not going to just completely leave him alone working on stuff by himself. But it'll be in good hands. Everything will be in good hands, and that's a real important part of being the football coach at Terrace is to have a continuing relationship with the youth program in the community. So, I'll be at all the home games on Saturdays and I'll hold the chains.
There we go.
Whatever
right,
I
you
need
gotta
to
do
do
it.
to be around it.
So Beaven walks on the play. So now we have the bases loaded. Gregoric on third, Boucher on second. Beaven is on first. Nowhere to put Caitlin Webster as she comes up for her second at bat. Had a single back in the first inning and then was caught stealing. 3-2 Meadowdale here in the second inning. And I called you earlier to ask if you could come on the show with us today for a little bit, and you mentioned that you have other commitments today. You are off to umpire a baseball game after this.
I was going to say that
This
he was being a little bit short on his resume because since I've been involved in youth sports, this guy has been involved in just about everything in the community. And if he's not coaching football, he's coaching or basketball or umpiring a baseball game.
Yeah.
I swear you had a twin there for a couple times. I thought, wait a minute, he was at Sorelli. No, he was over umpiring. No, he was coaching this. So you've just been involved for years here and such a great supporter of all the youth activities.
It's nice to have everything within about a 2-mile
It's true, doesn't it?
radius.
Yeah.
I can be in 2 places
I
at one
hear you
time.
on that, man.
So yeah, I ran the umpire crews here for MTYA baseball for I think
Yep.
the last 8 years, and so that's recruiting, training, scheduling, mentoring, paying all our youth umpires, and I continue to. I resigned from that position after last season, but I continue to umpire, so I'm headed over to Cyprus to do a pony game.
There you go.
So umpiring is something you'll still be able to do on the side, just
Yeah.
not maybe as often as you would have in the past. But
Yeah, I think I can still fit it in. I do about 30 or 40 games a season.
Webster lines that one to Zink at third. She throws it to home for one. Only get the one out, but it's the most important one as the runner at the plate is out. Webster ends up on first on the fielder's choice. Everybody else advancing as Gregoric thrown out on the play. Boucher over on third. Beaven at second, and that's going to bring up Julia Rubel, who flew out to right field in her first at bat. Fouls that one off, strike one. We're looking at one out here. 3-2 game, second inning. We're being joined by Kelly Dugan, who, as of yesterday morning, I guess, is the new head football coach at Mountlake Terrace High School. And Kelly, I have so many questions to ask. I don't know where to start here, but one of which, obviously, Rubel lines that one into left field, bounces right in front of Carricker, gets it back into the infield. Everybody moves up one set of bases. Coming in to score is Boucher. Makes it a 4-2 game as Bevan ends up on third. Webster on second. Rubel with the RBI single. One question, obviously, that I'd like to ask is how your relationship with the youth programs and knowing, obviously, the football teams in particular, since that's what you're going to be coaching and that's what you've been the president of, how is that going to help you in the transition to the high school game? Because I would think, in theory, you know most of these kids, or you've known some of them since they were just putting on pads for the first time.
Yeah.
Is that something that's going to benefit you in the long run?
Yeah, absolutely. I like the senior class that we have. I've known all of those men.
Calhoun, just 1 second here, Kelly, as Calhoun drops the ball. Everybody advancing on the play, Bevan coming in to score.
Yeah, known most of those players since they were in first grade. Started out in our program and coached most of them at some point for 2 or 3 years.
And those
know all their parents, know the players well, all the way down through the classes at the school. So it'll be nice and some familiarity from a coach-player standpoint, and I know I have the confidence of the players as well, you know.
Well, and I think one of the things that's, and I'll speak a little bit candidly on this, I'm a Mountlake Terrace graduate, obviously, played football here at the school, and I know that some of the challenges that Mountlake Terrace has had over the years, and should bring this out first. I mean, Tony Umayam has done a nice job over the last 11 years to build the program, but this is a school that historically has not had very good football programs. If you go back to the pre-Tony Umayam days, team that won 9 football games as a whole in the entire decade of the 90s. And I think one of the challenges that Mountlake Terrace has always had is, number one, back in those days, the youth programs weren't very strong, and folks like yourself came along and really revitalized that or built it.
There's no accident, Steve, that's why we're enjoying some success right now.
No, absolutely. And here comes a play at the plate here. Safe on the play and sliding into to home plate. That's number 11, Caitlin Webster. Makes it a 6-2 game as that ball got away from Fitzgerald. Doan came in from the mound to try to cover and couldn't get there in time. Nice play by Fitzgerald to try to throw Webster up it to no avail, and it's now 6-2. So I guess my question for you is, moving forward, and obviously I guess having a relationship with somebody like Joe Disney and some of the other folks, how important is it going to be for you to keep those relationships with the youth programs? Because really that's the foundation for what makes a good high school football program, especially at a school like Mountlake Terrace.
Yeah, it's vital. It's one of the keys to the past success in the future for sure. So that's going to come easy. You know, it's something I've been doing for so long. I don't want to walk away from it or give it up at all. So I will have to give up some of the authority element to it. But, yeah, I'm going to be a presence. Game days for sure. Got to get out to some practices when I can. Get our players and assistant coaches to come and help out a little bit in August when we have some downtime, you know, when the youth program's just getting started up, and get out there and work with the players and the coaches as well a little bit. And we'll do some things for the youth players, get them over to the stadium on Friday nights and get them in the locker room and see what that's all about, and encourage everybody to sit in the stands and root the big Hawks on and wear their little Hawk uniforms or jerseys. And yeah, it's a big deal. And
quite frankly, and by the way, Emma Helm walked for the second time this inning as we're through the lineup one time already here in the second. And I think that's something that the program lacked maybe back in the 90s and the early 2000s. There was never really any push or drive to get the younger kids acclimated to the program and to get excited about it. And I think that's why I was all fired up the other day when I heard you got the job, because I know that you were going to continue that. And hearing you say that, I think gives me a lot of hope for optimism, because of the fact that I think that's what you do need, right? I mean, these kids, and we've seen this time and time again at Mountlake Terrace High School, and Vince, you've taught here for over 20 years. Yep. How many times do you see a kid who looks like a great football player when he's 12, 13, 14 years old, gets to the high school and just has no desire to play the sport?
Right, yeah.
And it's something that
or hasn't even had the opportunity, or wasn't asked, or hey, somebody didn't step in and say, hey, here's an opportunity for you that might be kind of fun. And yeah, like I said, I don't think it's any accident that the success that the program has enjoyed really starts back in that first, second grade, first opportunity out there. If they have a positive experience there, and they've got coaches that are yeah, they're thinking short term in terms of skill building, but long term is in terms of keeping the kid interested in the game. Man, it just pays off. I mean, that's what you want. You want kids staying connected to their community. So I think we're in good shape here, Steve.
Yeah, we'll start. We have great coaches. Our youth coaches are outstanding, and we work real hard as a group, to get better every year and teach the fundamentals and teach it safely and make sure the kids are having fun and keeping them interested, coming back year after year.
One thing that I want to address, too, is we have a new pitcher now, Gabby Calhoun, in for the first time. I should say in to pitch for the first time. She was already playing right field, so she now comes in to pitch.
Yeah, just a straight switch with Doan out and right now.
Okay, so don't out. Everybody else staying in the same spots. Bases loaded here. 6 runs in already for Meadowdale in the second inning. They lead 6-2. 1 out, bases loaded, as Haley Taylor, who had a 2-run home run her last time up, is looking for maybe a second home run in the inning. This would be huge if she hits it. 1-1 count. Still have the bases loaded here as Taylor steps back in. Kelly, one of the things I wanted to address with you, and I know it's an issue for some folks, we were just talking about it with Beth Marriott, who's the athletic director at Meadowdale, and she mentioned that their committee really wanted to find somebody who's in building. They wanted to find a teacher. I know that that's always kind of a preference for a lot of principals and athletic directors. Was it something that came up in your interview? I guess in one regard is Taylor rips that one underneath a diving Ruiz into center field. 1 run already in, and that's where it will stand here as Julia Rubel comes in to score, now making it 7-2. In one regard, you're not in the building, but really you own the pizza place 2 blocks away from the school. I suppose if Principal Greg Schwab or if the athletic director Kim Stewart needs you, you can be here in about 90 seconds, right? I mean, was it an issue at all during the interview, or was it something that you had to address, or where do you stand on that?
There was a question in the interview that revolved around that, and so I certainly addressed it and brought up some points about it. Obvious one is I own a business right down the street. I live right down the street. But I think probably the biggest thing for the hiring committee was the fact that I've been here coaching football for the last 2 years, and so they've got firsthand knowledge of, they see me at the school. During the season, I'm there before school gets out. I'm sitting down in the hub with my freshman team, making them do their homework, and I've been running the weight room since February of this year, and so I'm there 2 to 3 days a week. Same kind of deal. I'm there before school gets out, so I can watch them as they're trying to flee the scene, so and point them in the right direction where they need to be going. So yeah, I'm accessible. I'm always available. I know that Greg and Kim knew that.
Ball gets away from Fitzgerald, and coming in to score on the play is Haley Costello. 8-2 now. Meadowdale with their 8th run of the inning. Still only 1 out here in the second.
And one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to set up some basically office hours in the school, and I'll talk to Kim and Greg about what they think would be optimal. But if that's 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. or if that's during lunchtime or maybe that right after 1 o'clock time frame, whatever it is, and just to make sure I'm in there. That way I'm available to any staff or administration that needs to talk to me, or if there's any players, that would need to hunt me down. I'm just going to be right there, and it'll be a good opportunity for me to sit there and prepare for practice or whatever else I need to do as well.
Well, I think one thing we should point out, too, which I found kind of fascinating, is Hart walks on the play. She heads down to first, so the bases are once again loaded. By the way, it's her second walk of the inning. And that will bring up Sam Gregorek. You and I talked, I guess it was about a month or so ago. I knew that you were applying for this job. I also knew that there were a few other jobs in the area open, some within 7 or 8 miles of radius of the school here and where you live, one of which was the Meadowdale job. But you weren't one of those candidates who was, and there are a lot of them out there, they just want to be a head coach and they don't really care where they're the head coach at. This was the one and only job you applied for, right? This is what you wanted.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I had no interest in applying to Shorewood or Meadowdale or Everett or Cascade, any of those jobs that were close, and certainly they had all been good opportunities, but this is my community, and Mountlake Terrace is where I wanted to coach, and that's why I've been here so long, Yeah. So I plan on being here for a long time.
Gregorek up with the bases loaded. A riser high. Ball 1, 1-1. as far as your coaching, your assistant coaches, and I know you mentioned, read the interview that Irvin did for the Hawkeye. Great job, by the way, one of Vince's students. You mentioned that obviously a foundation that you need to set early is having good quality assistant head coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Do you already have a few candidates in mind? Have you talked about retaining any of the coaches from last year?
Yep, absolutely. I mean, my goal would be to retain all of them. So everything's kind of in unofficial mode right now. You know, we have to reapply, I guess, or apply. All the guys need to apply for their jobs. But, yeah, I'll be retaining Coach Nickel and Coach Carden, and I'm very hopeful we'll keep Coach Vincent and Coach Willie on the staff, and I'm going to have conversations with them next week. And my freshman coaches, Alex Ashby and Tony Ellersick, will be on board, and I've got an offensive coordinator already. His application's been submitted, so that's Jack Hand, and he's a guy that grew up coaching in MTYAA and has been the last 3 years at Kings as a parent.
And a solid program at that over at Kings.
Yeah. And got Carol Powell I'm meeting with on Monday.
Wow, one of the greatest running backs in Mountlake Terrace history, quite frankly.
So I think he'd fit in really good on our freshman staff and a couple other guys. So, yeah, I'm putting it together. We're doing it fast, and I've been really kind of working on this for the last couple months. It just didn't start yesterday at 9:30 a.m. So
they just called the runner out or the batter out because she did contact the ball in fair territory. Okay. So
we should get everybody caught up. Sam Gregoric walked on the play before that, which forced a run in, making it 9-2, and that was Madison Boucher who was called out on the play. 2 outs now. That's going to bring up Mackenzie Bevan as we've got a 9-run inning currently going for Meadowdale. Did not score in the first. They've more than made up for that. They've got 9 in the second with the bases still loaded, by the way. So Bevan fouls that one off.
Sorry to interrupt you there. But
no, absolutely. We want to keep everybody posted on that as well. Yeah. And so, Kelly, I guess one other question. What can fans of Mountlake Terrace High School football expect to see this fall? Are you philosophically, I mean, what are some of the similarities and what are some of the differences between, for instance, yourself and Tony Umayam? Obviously, a lot of it's going to depend on personnel, but what kind of a team can we expect to see out there?
Yeah, well, I think it was stated in the article yesterday.
That ball is lined into left center field. 1 run in, make that 2, as coming in to score very easily is Sierra Hart, as well as Haley Taylor. We're now looking at an 11-1 ball game here.
But one thing that Coach Umayam and his staff have done is have physical teams. And so that's a real important aspect of what we're going to do. We're going to continue and build on that. And that's been a trait that our youth program has always emphasized, as being physical. And if you ask anybody involved in youth football around here, that's the first thing they're going to tell you.
That's exactly right.
Mountlake Terrace hits hard. Mental toughness is another component of that. And that's, the ability to be down and keep fighting and come back and have some success. We don't want to change too much, especially kind of with the short amount of time that we've got to get prepared.
By the way, Wilcox making the put out there, fields the ball from Bevan, goes and touches the base. Finally seeing this inning come to an end, and if my count is correct, as we might have lost count here during this whole process, and the scoreboard's not showing it correctly either. I believe that's 12 runs for Meadowdale in that inning, so it's 12-2 as we head to the bottom of the second. There is a 10-run rule in softball, however, it's not until the 5th inning that we can implement that, so we'll see what happens here. But Kelly, I don't want to take up too much more of your time, as I know you've got a game to umpire tomorrow. Are you going to be here at the school for?
Yes, I'll be here
the community
in the
events?
morning for a few hours, and then I'm off to umpire again. But I'll be here in the morning hours.
And I'm getting ahead of myself here a little bit. We were going to bring that up later in the broadcast, but there is an all sports booster event here tomorrow.
Yeah.
We started to talk about it a little bit with Beth Marriott. I know the football team is doing a car wash to raise money.
Yeah, we got a car wash and a test drive brand new car test drive.
That's
thing.
fun.
Test drive the Fords, and
that's right.
It doesn't cost you a thing, and And then the nice thing about that program, by the way, for anybody listening, if you come by the school tomorrow, I believe it's between 10 and 3. Does that sound right, Kelly?
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Between 10 and 3, you can test drive a Ford. I've done this a couple times now, and I can tell you they've never solicited me after that.
Right.
I've never gotten I know a lot of people are worried about the phone calls that might come, and they're not pushy at all. And quite frankly, when you come and test drive a car, you actually end up test driving it with a parent of a Mountlake Terrace athlete or
not a sales
coach.
pitch.
It's not a sales pitch. And for every person that comes and test drives a car, Ford donates $20 to Mountlake Terrace High School into the athletic programs.
That's right.
So we encourage people to do that. And there's other things going on. The football team, as we mentioned, will be doing a car wash all day long. And you've got plenty of kids, and John Clippert's been lining those kids up for a while now, even before you were named coach. So I know you'll be involved with that too. And there's a barbecue here at the school. I think there's a bazaar going on, a craft show inside the school. There's a health and wellness program that's going to be taking place for multiple speakers and a lot of different activities, and all of it goes to support athletics here. But from Kelly's standpoint, more importantly, a lot of it's going to go towards the football program, and that's always important for because that equipment isn't free, is it, that you guys play with?
Helmets and shoulder pads.
And bus rides and everything else.
Them,
Well, hey, Kelly, I'm going to let you go, but again, congratulations. I am so excited for you to have that job. I know what it means to you, and I know what it means to us as members of this community, and seeing all that you've done for not only the kids in this area, but the families in general, and it's good to have one of our own on board. So congratulations and best of success.
Thank you, Steve.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
Congratulations.
Yep. All right.
We'll let Kelly go and umpire a baseball game tonight. So that is Kelly Dugan there joining us. And I should mention that there's a softball game going on here. We should talk a little bit about that. I think people will understand that we have a lot going on here this week, both with Meadowdale and Mountlake Terrace. So it's good that we had a chance to talk to both Beth Marriott and with Kelly Dugan. And in between those conversations, we've seen a few Meadowdale players cross the plate, 12 runs in that second inning.
Yep. Darn it, I meant to ask Kelly.
Sammy Harder up, by the way.
If the Hawks, at what point does the free pizza kick in? It's early. If the Hawks reach a certain threshold, I mean, come on, you got to have a little cross-promotional deal going on.
We're going to Teresa Whipple's over our shoulder here, and we're going to have to really pressure Kelly to make sure that he continues up with that sponsorship this year.
Oh, man, absolutely.
That's been off and on over the last few years, and we're going to make sure that that's on.
Yeah.
If we're going to broadcast Mountlake Terrace high school football games, and the football coach owns the local establishment.
Gee, I wonder who could bring us the post-game coach's interview. Do you think maybe Sorelli might have a vested interest in that?
Kelly's about to walk by us here as he leaves. We'll just have to throw this out. So Sorelli is going to be sponsoring the Sound Live Sports Network all football season long now, right?
The post-game coach's interview, right?
Free pizza for the broadcasters. As he walks right by Teresa Whipple. So
see there, you can't get away now. No, he's a marked man now. The head coach in any community, usually pretty well known. Oh, Teresa, what are you bringing here?
Sammy Harder's on first base.
Temptations right there. Let me tell you. Teresa just dropped a big old bag of caramel corn in front of me.
Wow.
She must have been reading my mind, or.
So we've got great guests so far. Teresa's bringing us food,
absolutely.
and we're gonna have more guests, by the way, too. As that ball is just a bit inside, his character has to.
I see how it is. You asked me to do color, and then you book all these great guests. I don't get to say anything. It's
well,
you got it figured out, man.
I know how much it means to you to get a chance to talk to Kelly Dugan too. So I figure you get a little
good.
inside for your.
I'm just kidding.
I know you are.
Yeah.
Get you going there for when you're going to be interviewing him over and over again for the next few years for the football program.
Jeez.
And as if that's not enough, we might even have a visit from our Mountlake Terrace baseball coach here as they're practicing.
Yeah, on a Friday.
Over our shoulder on a Friday. And
I looked out there today and I was, wait a second, this has got to be some sort of scheduling anomaly. So
Carricker, 2-1 count for her. And we are broadcasting the game next Tuesday, Meadowdale versus Mountlake Terrace.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, Vince, if you've been paying attention to the standings for baseball.
A little tight right now, huh?
Extremely tight for both of those programs.
I know
Meadowdale and Mountlake Terrace both. And
it's kind of been that way for the last several years too. That it sort of depends on who gets hot at the right time and can maybe eke out a half game here, a full game there, and put some pressure on.
And things have changed a little bit this year. As you know, we had a 10-team league last year in Wesco 3A. Arlington, Edmonds, Woodway, and Linwood dropping down from 4A to 3A. So we've got 13 teams now. 2 divisions. One's got 7 teams. One has 6. And what I'm about to say actually holds true for both softball and baseball.
Yeah.
Although we were trying to confirm it with softball today. I haven't had complete confirmation, but I'm 95% sure what I'm about to say is correct.
Okay.
Because Ferndale drops down and plays in our district playoffs with us being the Wesco teams, The way I understand it this year, and this was the way it was for basketball, and I believe it's going to be the same for softball and baseball, the top 3 teams in Wesco 3A North and Wesco 3A South will automatically qualify for district playoffs.
Okay.
Ferndale, and both their softball team and baseball team having a very good years, they're both going to end up in the district tournament as well. Okay. So that means we've got 7 teams, 7 slots there for 8 teams.
Yep.
Means we got to get one more team in there. And the way I understand it this year is, and this will be of interest to Meadowdale baseball, Mountlake Terrace baseball, and Mountlake Terrace softball. The way I understand it, after the season's over, the 2 fourth-place teams in the North and the South will have a 1-game play-in to get that final district spot.
Ooh.
Mountlake Terrace right now for softball is pretty much they're stuck in that number 4 spot.
Yeah.
They've got a 2-game cushion over 5th place Glacier Peak.
Something would have to go real sideways.
Yeah, and they're 2 games behind Edmonds Woodway and Linwood for the 2nd and 3rd place spots right now. So Mountlake Terrace has a very good chance, softball-wise, of ending up in that 4th place spot. Baseball, Meadowdale girls, by the way, their softball team's in 1st place. They don't have to worry about any of that.
Right.
Other than that, it might affect who they play. Grigoric throws another pitch. Strike called. Baseball, Shorewood and Linwood are pretty much running away with the top 2 spots for the Wesco 3A South Division.
By the way, it's good for Linwood. They've really got a nice team this year.
Yeah, they're looking very sharp right now, and that's a Shorewood team that we knew coming in
was
the proverbial
loaded.
favorite,
Yeah.
and we knew they were loaded. And so for Linwood to be running neck and neck with them, that's
pretty impressive.
Very impressive. So Mountlake Terrace, Meadowdale, and Edmonds Woodway. No, I'm sorry, Mountlake Terrace, Meadowdale, and Glacier Peak. All have 7 losses. That ball's fouled off of the hands of number 3, Lauren Miller. Glacier Peak is playing tonight. No, I'm sorry, Glacier Peak is playing Monday. Meadowdale is playing tonight. They're playing, I believe, Shorecrest, which is winless this year. They're 0-17.
So that's probably a W for Meadowdale.
Meadowdale should win. If Glacier Peak wins on Monday, which I forget who they're playing, but they're also going to be heavily favored, all 3 teams would be 9-7, 9 wins and 7 losses with 2 games to go.
Right.
And Glacier Peak plays a 2-game series next Monday and Tuesday against Shorewood.
Perfect.
The best team in the league, in the conference,
Go
in theory. Meadowdale and Mountlake Terrace, the 2 baseball teams, as Miller strikes out. Mountlake Terrace and Meadowdale, those 2 baseball teams are going to play a 2-game series starting on Monday at Meadowdale, wrapping up on Tuesday here at Mountlake Terrace High School.
That could make the decision right there.
Yeah, and again, those 3 teams are battling for 3rd, 4th, and 5th places. If you end up in 3rd, you automatically qualify for district. If you end up in 5th, you're out.
Right.
If you're in 4th, you have to do the play-in game. So really, each slot is essential. I mean, it's crucial.
Yeah.
So those are big games. So, hey, little plug for us. Tune in on Tuesday because that Mountlake Terrace Meadowdale baseball game could be for everything for both of those teams. One of their seasons might come to an end that day.
Yeah. And that'll be here at Terrace.
And that'll be here at Mountlake Terrace at 4 o'clock. But, so baseball exciting right now. Softball coming down the stretch is, again, Meadowdale, obviously they want to win the district, and they've got a 2-game lead over 2 teams that are staying within shot of them right now, with Edmonds Woodway and Linwood. So their season's far from over as they still try to wrap that up. And it's entertaining stuff. It's good. It's a good time to be a fan of baseball and softball in the Edmonds School District right now.
Well, I think you summed it up really nicely. It really can't get much tighter there in the middle of the standings, and things will get sorted out as they always do. But somebody's going to have to step up and take control of their own destiny here. I would say that Shorewood, if they continue, I mean, their philosophy, they don't take their foot off the pedal at all. So I imagine they're going to play Glacier Peak tough. That's the hardest.
Ball is hit right over the glove of Sierra Hart. And heading in to second with the stand-up is Kira Doan. Doan, who started the game as the pitcher, is now playing right field. She ends up on second base with a double. She scored a run back in the 1st inning.
Yeah.
And on the play, Harder going down to 3rd base.
They're 2 outs, correct?
2 outs, correct.
All right.
By the way, we've got Tim Webster sitting over here to our left. He didn't think I was going to call him out, but I just did. Tim, who his kids graduated from Mountlake Terrace, all played sports here. Tim is a graduate of Meadowdale, and his niece, Caitlin, is the starting center fielder and the leadoff hitter for Meadowdale. So, Tim, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. Are we rooting for Meadowdale right now? You got to root for family, right? Okay. He's got the red shorts on, though, so he's covering his bases.
Over here, but I guess you don't have any choice if you're
and
going to sit here, right?
And he's got his Sorelli shirt on, so really he's showing his Mountlake Terrace pride as well.
I think he's covered all the bases. It's a smart man right there.
He said it's the blood thing. I don't blame him. I think if I had a niece or a nephew out here, I would definitely be pulling for them too, no matter what school they're at, and that's the way it should be.
You've been known to do that on a Arlington game or two.
Yeah, my allegiances were tested a little bit during basketball season.
No, that's okay.
Well,
got to make sure you stay on the Christmas list.
Always important. Family first. Still 12-2 here in the third inning. Tim said it's still about Hawk football, so we know who he's rooting for in the fall anyway. He takes off the blue shirt and goes to the red there when football season kicks off.
Scarlet and silver.
Scarlet and silver indeed. 2-2 count here. As Gabby Calhoun at the plate. Gabby, who missed a little bit of time earlier this year, twisted an ankle after stepping on a softball on a play. Good to see her back out on the diamond. 3-2 count.
Yeah, it's great talking to Kelly. You know, it's so often when you're anywhere in the community here and there's youth sports going on, it seems like I'm always seeing him. He's very involved, very supportive.
Ball four.
He got some bases loaded action right now.
It is bases loaded. I mentioned we were in the third inning. That's incorrect. We are in the bottom of the second. It just seems like we should be in the third because it's been a very long inning so far with those 12 runs coming across the plate for Meadowdale.
It's a pretty good opportunity right here, don't you think?
Bases loaded and Hannah Wilcox at the plate, and we've seen her hit a few over these fences in the past.
Ooh, that looked like it was inside.
Trailing by 10. If they can get a grand slam right here, could make this game very interesting all of a sudden. Scoreboard showing 1-1 count. She rips that one just foul. Right towards third base, just a little bit to the left.
Yeah, it's 0-2 right now.
To the left of where Beavan was playing. 0-2 count. They're still showing 1 and 2. We need to work on those scoreboard operators a little bit, but that's my fault for trusting them so much, right? I get to talking, and all of a sudden I look up there, and you go into the assumption those bulbs are right, and it's not always the case. 1-2 count. (12-2). Meadowdale in control right now here in the second inning. Wilcox chops that one over towards third. He is thrown out on the play as Beavan fires that one across the diamond. Hawks load up the bases but are not able to get any runs in. We are through 2 innings of play finally. And at the end of 2, Meadowdale 12, Mountlake Terrace 2. You're watching the Sound Live Sports Network.
If you're hungry before or after the game, visit Sorelli Pizza, located at 44th and 224th in Mountlake Terrace. Enjoy the best pizza in Snohomish County while watching your favorite sports on the 4 50-inch plasma TVs. Dine in or take out. They're open Tuesday through Sunday at 11:30 a.m. Call them at 425-670-8600 or visit them online at SorelliPizza.com.
And welcome back to the Sound Live Sports Network. Steve Willits along with Vince DeMiro, as well as Ian Hens running the board right now, running the show. Teresa Whipple's over here, our publisher. Angelo Camo. checking my Twitter feed. Apparently, our advisor and everything. He's a 5-tool player, as they like to say in the baseball, softball. He doesn't know what that means. It means you do a lot of things. You're
handy at about 5 different things. We're not saying which 5.
Yeah.
We're just saying it's about 5.
Usually in baseball terms, it means you hit for power. You're
Right.
fast. You've got a great glove. I don't know if you have any of those things, but when it comes to a production, you've got it covered.
Game. Yeah, he talks a good
He
game.
does. He's.
Yeah. Speaking of good game, I'm really.
Where's this one going? This
well,
is
I'm
gonna
just
be
saying.
good.
It was a rough week. I'll be honest with you, because the week started with some bad news in terms of our broadcast program, and it ended on a real high note, thanks to a lot of people and a lot of support and a lot of effort and energy. And Steve, you were one of those. And
By the way, I'm not sure if I have to interrupt you here because
Yeah.
we're doing the softball game. Julia Rubel just fouled one towards the first base line. I
Yeah.
think the first base coach is her dad, but I'm not sure.
well,
Everybody on the Meadowdale side here is laughing as he had to duck for cover.
He
If I'm right on that, which I may
Yeah.
or may not be,
showed average speed on the movement on that one.
Julia might have been sleeping at a friend's house tonight if
I
she.
was just thinking the same thing. She still has dinner going.
Yeah. So what happened this week, Vince?
Well, this is a real tough time of year in terms of the leadership at the district and the leadership in each of the buildings in the district get their sort of preliminary counts for the following year, and in terms of enrollment, and it's really starts a very challenging process, and it's an important process, and that's putting together your staff for the following school year. If you're thinking, well, wait a second, it's only end of April, 1st of May, can't you wait and do that later on? Well, no, you can't. You got to, if there are positions open or if there are people who are going to be retiring or changes in programs, this is when you have to do it. And what's made it even more difficult, as a player fouls the ball off there, is that our state legislature has not held up their end of the deal by passing a budget so that all these public school districts in the state know what kind of money they have available to them to go out and support all these programs that kids need. So anyway, that's the pretext, and one of the little unfortunate things that happened earlier this week, one of the numbers came in, and that was the enrollment in our broadcast program, and it was below what usually you can say will support the continuation of a class. And to everybody's shock, it looked like HBN was kind of teetering on whether it was going to survive into next year, and that's just, to me, it's just unconscionable that you would have a school community like ours and not have the vital student media programs that we have come to know here. Of course, I'm extremely biased on that, but nonetheless, I think it's an important part of our community.
Ooh, and that play gets away from Wilcox covering second base. So Rubel, who walked a moment ago, is now on third base on the play. Costello ends up on first base. We'll give her a single, as I think she was going to beat that out either way.
It looked like it was going to be a bang-bang play.
And let's back up a little bit here
Sure.
for the folks who don't really know what we're talking about. So we broadcast these games on the Sound Live Sports
Right.
Network. I think a lot of people don't realize that this is a school program. Can you
Right.
kind of explain that a little bit and
Sure.
how everything
yeah.
works?
Well, it all starts with the Hawk Broadcasting Network, and that is the class that Angela Camo teaches. And it's a class that takes place during the day, and those student broadcast journalists, broadcast engineers, broadcast technicians, they are responsible for pretty much everything that goes on in the school as it relates to any sort of video content and any kind of technical aspects, and of course the primary thing that they are known for within the school community is their daily announcements. And yes, there are announcements, but it's also some really good storytelling and journalism, and it's a way that we really come together as a campus community, and we've been really fortunate that we've had such a great program for such a long time here at Terrace. And so it all starts there. Now the one of the offshoots of that, as you know, and the reason why we're here today, 3 years ago we started this entity that has become known as the Sound Live Sports Network. And there was a class this year, an intra-district class this year, that at least as of today, that class is also gone because of lack of enrollment. But HBN, it's sort of its parent. It doesn't survive without it.
And HBN stands for?
Hawk Broadcast Network. And that now is back in the schedule, and Angelo is back in the building for at least 8/10 of the time, and we want to get him there full time, obviously.
Ball's hit over to
Oh boy.
Jazz Inc. Throws that one a little lower to first base, getting away from Miller. On the play, coming in to score is Julia Rubel. Makes it a 13-2 game as Meadowdale continuing to add to their lead here in the third inning. And I guess one of the things, and you and I didn't really prep for this conversation beforehand, so it's just
okay.
kind of a nice way for us to talk about this a little bit. I don't know. I mean, if Angela even wants to jump in, I'd be curious to hear. If not, no big deal, as the ball is hit past the shortstop into the center field. 2 runs are going to come in to score on this play, as both Costello coming in as well as Helm makes it a 15-2 game. I guess my question for you guys, and the thing that's I've always been curious about, and maybe in some ways I've been frustrated about, why are more students not interested in this program? Because it just seems to me like this is a program that I would have loved to have participated in when I was in high school.
Are you kidding?
We never had anything like this. No. The technology's here, and we're fortunate enough to have not only somebody as talented as Angelo, but really you guys have the equipment in building, which most people don't.
That's real true. You know, it is a little bit of a mystery. You know, but part of it too, and I have a strong perspective on this, Steve, and you know that as a longtime journalism educator and advocate for student media across the country, not just here in our own backyard. I really think that if this is something that the community wants, if people really genuinely like the fact that they can tune in and see their young athletes at the high school level, at least the high school varsity level, anytime they want, either live or on demand without paying a dime, all produced by students. And yeah, a couple of us older people are on the air here, but we've also have a lot of students now that are capable and have been on the air with you, Steve. And we're just sort of in that growing stage. You know, we're only not quite 3 years into this experiment. And I just think that if this is something that people truly value, nice play.
Nice play by Wilcox. Almost got the double play as she tries to get it back in.
But if this is something that people truly value and they want, then we'll find a way to make it happen. And part of that is, when you're only 3 years into something, is developing a general understanding and a little bit of marketing about what it is you do and who you are. And we're no excuses here, but we are sort of busy doing what we're doing rather than promoting what we're doing, which is not an excuse. We probably should do a little bit better job of that. But I think other people in the community, too, are starting to pick up on the fact that, wait a second, this isn't going to be there next year, or there's a possibility that it won't be there next year. And I know that Angelo's gotten a couple of emails. I've gotten a couple of phone calls from people like, well, geez, I didn't even know it was an intra-district class. And I know that Angelo puts in way more time than most promoting this program. And so, yeah, it's a bit of a mystery as to why more kids, especially when you think that there are, between 3,000 and 4,000 high school students in this district. Are you telling me we can't come up with, 15 to 25 kids that wouldn't want to be involved in this? You're right, So,
but we have right now, we've been running the class all this year, and it started off with a small group.
Right.
We knew we were going to take some chance with that small group. And we had 10 kids, and 2 kids eventually left and went to Scriber. So 8 kids. But I was thinking about this last night.
Yeah.
We have 8 students in this Sunlight Sports Network class.
Right.
With those 8 kids, we did football season, basketball season, and now spring. With just 8 students.
Yeah.
We did all those games. And we had just 10 more. Who knows what we could do?
Absolutely. Yeah, and for anybody who's listening or watching, if you've got a high school student, or you are a high school student, or you're a middle school student thinking about, wait a second, you mean to tell me that this is all done by students? Yeah.
Yeah, because if you're watching the broadcast, you know when it started out. Ian introduced this broadcast.
That's right.
And Ian right now is on the
Producing.
switcher, producing and talking to the camera people and switching the game. I'm over to the side talking to Teresa. They are running the show. It's as I said, it's the student-led programs. It's their show. They run the cameras. They run the equipment. They host it. And if they want to do play-by-play events, you might get elbowed out.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I want that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Doing some of the basketball games.
We've had a few of those students doing color commentator.
Yeah.
So that's part of the broadcast class. Is in the classroom we talk about what's it take to be a broadcaster, what Steve does, and listening to we listen to your tape, Steve, and what play-by-play is, and listen to your tapes, and what color commentary is, and we get kids working up on that, and also just the engineering, how to turn this case of equipment into a functioning TV studio in an hour.
By the way, Kaylee Williams, number 13, getting her first at bat of the game, in for Madison Boucher.
Yeah.
Outside, runners on at second and third.
Some of these players are in my photography class, so I
got a couple of them in class myself. Yeah, it's cool to see, especially these freshmen that are out here.
And Carricker, her sister used to be the director of
That's
HBN.
right, Ben, yeah.
So ties all over the place for HBN and the sports teams. It's not just about on the field.
Hey, Kerker's in my photography class right now. Cassandra's in my photography class. I'm looking at her, ready to go today? Like, yeah.
And there is a walk there for Williams as she runs on down to first base. Base is loaded one more time. It's going to bring up Mackenzie Beaven. So what is the future of this program?
Well, I think that we're probably gonna take a little breath here because the amount of energy that Angela I know put in just personally this last week to make sure that HBN was going to continue to survive.
I've never written so many emails.
I can't imagine. And God bless you for doing it too. Because
I'm in fifth period, open on my computer, and there's an email from the superintendent going, "Oh,
this is real. Yeah, it's happening.
This has blown up."
Yeah. So I think we'll probably catch our breath here a little bit, Steve, and then between now and maybe the end of May, we'll start looking at what are some of the possible creative ways that we can keep this aspect of the program going. And part of that, and probably who am I kidding? A very, very big part of that is the person standing just behind me to the right here, Teresa Whipple, and the whole My Neighborhood News network of websites, and really the initial reason why we were able even to get this thing going. We just can't do it all by yourself, And when you have that kind of community support, when you have people who are invested in their community, not only because they live there, but because they care about what goes on and they care about the next generation of kids, and they like to support good things that are happening. Ouch! Yeah.
Mackenzie Beaven getting hit in the knee there, and she is down, and she is hurting there. She grabs the knee. It might have caught her right on the
maybe right on the knee
end of the cap there, which is very painful if that's the case.
Yeah.
We certainly hope she's okay. And
she kind of tried to take a step, and then it just kind of went out from under her there. Hope she's okay.
So we got athletic trainers here. They're going to take a look at her.
Both coaches are out there right now. So.
She's a Meadowdale trainer, but I know Shannon Raps is
I thought I saw Shannon here earlier, right?
Yeah.
The Shannon Ripley.
Ripley,
Ripley,
yeah.
Rasmussen is the coach, yeah.
Different Shannon.
Two Shannon R's. So we'll see if she's even still here right now. But at any rate, they're taking a look at her. And by the way, that will bring a run in, so it's 16-2. And we're going to take a quick break right now. When we come back, we'll get you an update as to how Mackenzie Beaven's doing and get you back to action. You're watching the Sound Live Sports Network. And welcome back to the Sound Live Sports Network. Steve Willits along with Vince DeMiro. And good news is Mackenzie Beaven is able to get up and head on down to first base, shaking off the hit to the knee. I have a feeling she's going to be a little bit sore tomorrow, but the fact that she is not only up, but she is remaining in this game is a great sign. Happy to see that. 16-2 now, Meadowdale ahead. And again, they do play a 10-run rule in high school softball, right? But it's after 5 innings. So we might have to endure this for a couple more innings before we find out what happens. As the bases are still loaded, and Caitlin Webster up one more time. This is a Meadowdale team, by the way. I was looking at it earlier, a handful of games, and let's see if we can pull this up. this is not the first time they've scored double digits this season. They've had a few games like that this year.
And during that timeout, we also had a pitching change for the Hawks. Jasmine Sank is in.
Well, not only 6 of the well, let's count today now since they've already got 16. 7 of Meadowdale's last 8 games, they've scored in double figures. That is a huge number in high school softball.
Yeah.
7 out of 8 games. I mean, that's not just dominating one or two teams. That's running the gamut there and just putting teams away. And we're seeing why. They are a very, very good program, as you mentioned. Jazz Zink pitching right now. The very impressive freshman, Jazz, by the way, and multi-sport athlete, as we saw her start on the high school basketball team here as a freshman. And she's kind of a do-everything player here for Mountlake Terrace this year and on the softball field as well.
She's a real pleasure to have in class. She's in my one of my freshman classes, and just a real dynamic leader in there, too.
Zink winds and throws high.
Don't know what part she has, but either on Monday or Tuesday, she will be playing the part of one of the characters in our classroom production of Romeo and Juliet. So she'll have to get cleaned up a little bit before that. But
classroom production. So is that something people can watch?
No, just an in-class thing. No, that will not be on Sound Live Sports. I can guarantee you that.
Won't be in the theater. It's not like Footloose over at Meadowdale.
Nothing that serious. I just want every kid to have a little experience speaking some of those famous lines from Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet.
Excellent.
Yep.
Another high pitch. Look at the scoreboard now. It shows full count. Caitlin Webster, who at this point our scorebook's all over the place as we've been doing interviews and everything else. I have her single back in the first. She scored multiple runs, actually 1 run in the second inning, and now she walks in another run as she picks up an RBI for the walk. As trotting in to score is Sam Gregoric. And we are now looking at a 17-2 game here in the third inning. When it rains, it pours. Figuratively speaking, anyway. They could use some rain right now just to get this game over with. It's not going to happen, I don't think, though, as it's those clouds above us are not dark enough. As Julia Rubel comes up one more time.
Zank just needs to kind of gather herself here, sort of over pitching a little bit.
Throws another pitch high, ball 2-0. I was going to bring up another softball game that I saw the other day. I saw the results of this game. It was on national news. I thought this was kind of interesting as we'll wait for this next pitch. High, ball 3-0. It's a game that took place. I should have written down the names, but it was down in Thousand Oaks, California.
Okay.
And the pitcher for one of the teams, she is she's already committed to playing softball next year at UCLA. As Rubel hits a spinner that just lands foul down the first baseline there, away from where Doan or Miller could come up with it. So a softball game in California. Pitcher pitched an 8-inning perfect game. So it's 8 times 3, that's 24 outs. She faced 24 batters.
Okay.
Strikes out 23 of the 24 batters she faces.
Oh my.
Strikes out the first, I think it was 18 batters of the game. And then I think it was a ground out and then struck out everybody else. But that's not the interesting part of the story.
Go on.
She had a perfect game, right?
8 innings. You got to explain this.
Yeah, we could 7-inning game. So obviously it went extra innings extra innings.
So there must be more to the story.
And as you know, Vince, a perfect game means you don't let anybody on base, right? We've
right.
seen like 23 of them in the history of Major League Baseball.
Yeah, one by Felix Hernandez.
Felix Hernandez threw one. She lost.
Oh, now you got to continue the story.
You don't want me just to leave it right there? She
I think
lost
you better
the game.
How did that happen?
I will tell you here after this next pitch.
Good pitch. Oh,
just a bit high, and it means Rubel picks up another RBI as she heads on down to first base, and the runs continue here as Kaylee Williams comes around to score for the first time today. 17-2 is what we have unofficially now. Actually, I have 18-2 right now.
Yeah, 18 I think.
So I think they're still trying to work that out on the scoreboard. There's so many runs the scoreboard operator can't even keep up with it, so nobody knows what the score is. 18-2 here in the third inning, and now that brings up number 5, Haley Costello. So as you know, as you and I learned when we were doing softball games down at the state tournament, I think in Washington, I might be wrong on this, but I believe in Washington it's the 9th inning. And obviously the way some of these softball games go, there's a tie-breaking rule where you start once you get to a certain point in the game, and down in California it's the 8th inning, they start them off with a runner on second base. So it's not anybody who
Are there any
reached
outs
on a
or
double.
anything in this? I can't
No,
remember.
you end up on second base, so no
Okay.
outs and a runner on second base, and that's how
the
both
inning
teams
starts.
play. That's how the inning starts. So in that 8th inning of that game,
Don't tell me that there was
she
a pass ball.
She
or
puts
something.
a runner on second base, pass ball or wild pitch, whatever it might have been. But anyway, the runner advances to third. On the play, the catcher picks up the ball, fires it down to third base, overthrows the third baseman. Ball goes into the outfield. Runner comes in to score. They still top half of the innings. So they still played the rest of the inning. She gets everybody out. They end up losing 1-0, and she pitches a perfect game. Does not put one runner on base herself the
Right.
entire game.
Yep.
And not only that, but she strikes out 23 of the 24 batters she faced, and she loses the game.
So that'll be one of those things that go into the record book with lots of asterisks next to it.
Yeah.
And plenty of footnotes because somebody needs to explain that one. How you throw a perfect game but lose 1-0.
Well, and to her credit, as Costello continues to bat here, 2-2 count, I did see her. She was interviewed after the game. They did one of those, and we've seen a lot of the media does this in this day and age, especially some of the local newspapers. They'll do an interview with a phone. They'll
Right.
hold the phone camera up and ask the questions off air and let the person answer them. And she was very cordial about it, was very friendly as that ball gets away. Everybody staying put as Meadowdale not looking to advance with a 16-run lead. And was very understanding about the situation. She was very complimentary of her opposing pitcher. And it wasn't a state tournament game or a playoff game by any means. So I guess from that standpoint, it doesn't end their season. But still, to pitch a perfect game and to come away with a loss, I don't think that's ever happened because by definition, a perfect game means nobody even reached this base. And 2 runs come in to score on the single by Costello, which now makes it 20-2 here in the 3rd inning.
It is a goofy game, isn't it?
It can be at times, yes.
Wow. Perfect game and you lose.
And you get the loss. But it's definitely a trick question because it begs an answer, right? It's how does that happen?
But you have to know the tie-breaking rules. It's interesting that they have those rules on the regular season too. Do we have that here?
You know, I think part of the problem becomes in softball when you get dominant pitchers.
Yeah.
I mean,
They could
we've seen
dominate a
games
game,
where they can dominate for innings and innings. I mean, we've heard of softball games going 18, 19, 20 innings when there's hardly any base runners if you get the right 2 pitchers involved. And at some point, you need to create a situation to where maybe there's a little more of a creative element to it. And maybe a situation like that where finally a run comes in so you're not playing well into the night with no score. But
So you're saying it's not cricket, in other words, huh?
It's definitely not cricket. The game has to end at some point.
Ooh.
Helm hits that one deep into right field. Calhoun going back to make the catch and drops the ball once again. Everybody's advancing. There was an open base, so no runners scoring on the play. Helm ends up at first base. It's going to bring up Weiner. I've got to be honest with you. I'm not even working my scorebook at this point. It's just so messy.
Yeah.
20 runs in 3 innings.
Yeah, you need
I don't think it matters at this point.
It's too bad too because the way this game started after that first inning, it looked like maybe we're going to have ourselves a little game here.
Yeah.
Don't shut down the Mavs in that top of the first.
And we've seen Mountlake Terrace battle Meadowdale very, very strongly over the last couple of years. 2 years ago when obviously Meadowdale was led by Alyssa Rubel.
Right.
And Rubel was just having games where kind of look what we were just talking about. They're near perfect
just
or
dominant.
No hitters or dominating her opposition. Mountlake Terrace always seemed to find a way to give her troubles at times. And we certainly saw quite a few games that went right down to the wire. And we were hoping for another one here today, and I don't think we're going to get it now.
Well, it's a little younger team. Hawks are going to be fine. Now that I've said that, what are we made up of here in terms of our? I mean, I know we got 2 freshmen on the field here right now.
Mountlake Terrace has 3 seniors on their entire squad.
Well, then there you go. I was right.
I know. I was asking. Well, Shannon Rasmussen, obviously the head coach, and her father Craig is her assistant coach, and first time we've covered them this year. So I was asking Craig how things were going before the game, and he looked at me, and the only words out of his mouth were, "Well, we're young this year."
Yeah.
And I said, "All things considered, you've got a winning record." Wilcox steps on third base and gets the tag at home plate. Double play there. And that ends the 3rd inning, the top of the 3rd. Meadowdale getting 8 more. Take a quick break, and then we'll talk a little bit more about Mountlake Terrace's future and how young they are. But right now, struggling a little bit here today. 20-2. It is all Meadowdale right now. You are watching the Sound Live Sports Network.
Clogged drain? Other plumbing problems? Call Action Jackson Plumbing for 24-hour service. Owned by a lifetime Edmonds resident and Edmonds Woodway grad, Action Jackson is the drain cleaning specialist. They can unclog most internal drains for only $99 plus tax. Call 425-877-5601 or visit actionjacksonplumbing.com.
Are you a whiz in filmmaking? Do you want to become extraordinary in filmmaking? Then come to Shoreline Community College and work with Shoreline Productions, where you will learn to transform your work in teams of working professionals and students to create enchanting effects such as green screen, text animation, and so much more. So come to Shoreline Community College, where you can mystify and dazzle in filmmaking.
And welcome back to the Sound Alive Sports Network. Steve Willits along with Vince DeMiro in a softball game that is being dominated by the Meadowdale Mavericks. Is that fair to say when it's 20-2 in the third inning?
I think you're pretty safe. I think if you're ever going to use that, this would not be one of those times where it would be hyperbole, Steve.
Yeah, I think we've been very fortunate over the last 3 seasons. We've broadcasted quite a few great games, great matchups that went right down to the final out of the game. And sure. We've seen some walk-offs and
nice,
great performances, and we're getting a great performance. Unfortunately, only by one team. This is by far and away the most lopsided baseball or softball game you and I have covered in the last 3 seasons. So it's going to happen from time to time if you do enough of these. And
we've done a couple, 2, 3, haven't we?
Speaking of which, as soon as we say that, of course, we get a runner on base. So Mountlake Terrace still have a ways to go. I don't know, can you even make that more interesting as an announcer? I mean, it's not like I can keep saying, hey, if they keep going here, they can get back into this thing. Yeah. But it's still nice to see one of our runners get on base. So Ashley Fitzgerald getting on with a single. She's been on twice now. And Jazz Zink, who is now the pitcher, who started off as the third baseman, fouls one off, 0-1. I did want to give a shout-out here as Steve Gregoric, who's the father of Samantha Gregoric, the pitcher, who's having an outstanding day so far, both on the mound and at the plate. Her grandfather, Gordon Schloggs, is watching in Kalispell, Montana. Ball is hit into center field. Coming in and making the catch is Webster, one away.
Boy, that's not an easy catch to make with the wind kind of blowing that way and everything. So
wind picked it up a little bit. And
it looked like it was definitely going to be a center fielder's ball, and then all of a sudden it kind of became a right fielder's ball, but the center fielder stayed with it. She's the quarterback out there.
And she did a nice job to get to that one, so 1 out. But we always appreciate folks listening, and I was joking with Steve. I said, is Gordon still watching at this point? It's 20-2, and his granddaughter's on the mound. I think he's enjoying this, and he's going to stay with it for a little while, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
And I think enjoys every opportunity he has to watch her, and a heck of a softball player.
Wow.
We learned of her, by the way, her freshman year.
Oh, absolutely. Huh?
I don't know if you remember that game or not. I'm sure you do. We were broadcasting the district championship game between these same 2 schools.
That's
and actually, Dennis Hopkins, the coach, gives me a bad time about it, or he gave me a bad time at the time because I didn't remember this back then, but Samantha was a freshman, and she was batting 9th in the lineup. And, of course, my assumption, it's a freshman batting 9.
Yeah.
What damage can she do, right?
Exactly. You may have said something like that.
I made a comment about how, well, at least they're in the bottom of the order, so here this might be, they want to certainly try to get her out before they get back to the top of the order. And what does she do? She parks one over the fence. It ends up being the game winner. I think it was in the 6th inning. Ended up being the difference in that game, and they won the game 6-5, I believe, was the final that day.
Yeah, that was up just in South Everett over by Bowling.
Yeah.
Great fields.
Doing this all off memory, but I want to say it was a 3-3 game, and Samantha hit a 3-run home run. Does that sound right? We might have to ask Steve when we get a chance here in the.
Maybe
because I have a feeling Steve's going to remember
maybe
this
he'll know
moment.
that? Yeah.
Steve, we're talking about the district championship game 2 years ago. Was that a 3-run home run that Samantha hit? Made it 6-3 at the time, right? So there we go. So the memory still works for me. I'm not that old yet.
It's impressive, Steve. Because like you said, you've done a few of these games over the last 3 years.
just one or two, right? But that was our introduction to Samantha Gregoric, and now as a junior, she continues to impress.
That's a nice little intro.
Yeah, doing it on the mound now and having a heck of a season. I was going to point out some stats, but I emailed Dennis earlier today and wondering if they have some Meadowdale stats he can send me. And to his credit, and I appreciate this, I respect this, they don't keep stats. He says we take it one pitch at a time, one out at a time. We want the girls to have fun, and that's what it's all about. So, but I'm sure if we did have individual stats, Samantha's would be sky high. She's having a heck of a year, and as soon as I say that, she gets the strikeout. So we've come to the end of 3 innings of play. Meadowdale 20, Mountlake Terrace 2. You're watching the Sound of Life Sports Network.
Are you a whiz in filmmaking? Do you want to become extraordinary in filmmaking? Then come to Shoreline Community College and work with Shoreline Productions, where you will learn to transform your work in teams of working professionals and students, to create enchanting effects such as green screen, text animation, and so much more. So come to Shoreline Community College, where you can mystify and dazzle in filmmaking.
Clogged drain? Other plumbing problems? Call Action Jackson Plumbing for 24-hour service. Owned by a lifetime Edmonds resident and Edmonds Woodway grad, Action Jackson is the drain cleaning specialist. They can unclog most internal drains for only $99 plus tax. Call 425-877-5601 or visit actionjacksonplumbing.com.
And welcome back to the Sound Live Sports Network. We head to the top of the 4th inning. Meadowdale 20, Mountlake Terrace 2. And Vince, being that we've had 22 runs come across the plate in 3 innings, this game's going a little bit longer than we were projecting it to, and therefore I think we're about to lose you as you need to take off, right?
I have another commitment that I need to get to, Steve, so I really have appreciated being on the air with you today. It's been way too long since I've joined you here, and you know how much I enjoy it. So thank you for this opportunity. So yeah, I'd like to join you on Tuesday. That sounds like be a lot of fun with these 2 schools, but the 2 baseball teams getting together. I think that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, if anybody wasn't listening earlier, Mountlake Terrace and Meadowdale wrapping up their seasons on Tuesday here at Mountlake Terrace High School. Right now they are in a 3-way tie essentially for 3rd place, so 3rd, 4th, and 5th. It's Mountlake Terrace, Meadowdale, and Glacier Peak. One of those teams will be eliminated, and whoever finishes in 4th has to play a 1-game play-in game to get into the district tournament. So that game is going to have could very well in one of their teams implications all over the board for both teams, and should be a fun game. So Vince, on that note, looking forward to seeing you again on Tuesday. But obviously, always enjoy having you with us, and good to have you back.
Thanks to Ian for producing here tonight, and Angelo for everything that he does, our camera operators and everything. So, and thanks to you, Steve.
All right, Vince.
All right, man.
Have a good weekend.
You too.
So 20-2, Meadowdale scoring all 20 of those runs in the last 2 innings. 12 in the second, 8 in the third, and that ball's hit into center field. Coming in and making the catch for Mountlake Terrace is Sammy Harder. 1 away, and that will bring up number 13, Kaylee Williams. As we look back now, we're noticing that the baseball team is done practicing, so we're hoping at some point here, Andrew Waters, the baseball coach for Mountlake Terrace, might come over and jump on the air and join us for a few minutes and talk to us a little bit about the baseball season for Mountlake Terrace, and maybe even shed a little light on the Meadowdale team as well. As it's a team he knows very well, as he and Bill Hummel have been coaching against each other for many years, and might give us a little bit of a preview as to what we can expect next week. I'm looking up at the scoreboard right now, and it looks as though they might have changed it. There's a few numbers that are still off and some light bulbs that are not working correctly, but it looks as though they might have Meadowdale down for 19 instead of 20. It sounds better to me, right? It makes it a closer game, right, Ian? So Ian's shaking his head yes. We'll go with that for now, too, in case that we are, in fact, off on that one. At any rate, Meadowdale very comfortably ahead right now. Here in the 4th inning of play. Jazz Zink continues to pitch. Came in for her first inning in the 3rd. Third pitcher the Hawks have used here today. Kira Doan is starting the game. That ball is lined into left field. Cassandra Carricker making a nice catch. 2 away. So that is the 3rd out. We've come to the end of 3.5 innings of play. We're going to take a quick break. Meadowdale 19, Mountlake Terrace 2. You're watching the Sound Alive Sports Network.
Clogged drain? Other plumbing problems? Call Action Jackson Plumbing for 24-hour service. Owned by a lifetime Edmonds resident and Edmonds Woodway grad, Action Jackson is the drain cleaning specialist. They can unclog most internal drains for only $99 plus tax. Call 425-877-5601 or visit actionjacksonplumbing.com.
And welcome back to the Sound Live Sports Network. We head to the bottom of the 4th inning. Mountlake Terrace continuing to trail 19-2, and I think we've got the right headphone on you here as we've got another special guest, this time the head baseball coach for Mountlake Terrace High School. Andrew Waters is joining us. Andrew, how are things going today?
Great. How are you, Steve?
Doing really good. I'd be doing a little better if this softball game was a little bit closer, but I digress.
In the words of the great Beano Cook, these things happen.
And you've been managing here at Mountlake Terrace for how many years?
This is my 16th season right now.
So you've I'm sure have been on the both ends of the games like this, right? You've had games where you've dominated a team and you've won big. You've had games where certainly it hasn't been your day, and the score indicates that. From a manager standpoint, from both the winning manager and the losing manager, what is it like to manage a game like this, and what are you trying to do in your dugout right now?
I think that no manager likes the situation, but I think when you're in Mountlake Terrace's situation, you just want to finish as strong as you can and take it one at bat at a time and look for little things that are positive here at the end of the game. And and I think when you're in Meadowdale's situation, I think if you made some substitutions, you're hoping that your reserve players finish strong. And sometimes it's players that don't get a lot of playing time, so you're rooting for them to finish it off. And I don't know. I think you just hope that the end of the game is played well.
So Costello fielding that ball at shortstop a minute ago and throwing Carricker out at first, 1 away. Brings up number 3, Lauren Miller. And Vince DeMiro just leaving us a few moments ago, but before you got over here, we were talking quite a bit about your situation right now and the playoff implications that are coming down the stretch or over the next 4 or 5 days, I guess, between now and through Tuesday. And we'll get another shameless plug in here for us as Miller gets that one past the shortstop into left field for a single. She ends up on first base. But really right now for Mountlake Terrace, 3 teams battling for essentially 2 spots, but really 1 spot to get you in for sure.
Yeah.
Team that finishes in 3rd place advances to districts. Team that finishes in 4th place has a 1-game playoff, and we don't even know the date or where that's going to be played yet. And the team that finishes in 5th will be out entirely. You and I were just talking during the break here a minute ago. It sounds like you already know the situation because you're following one of the games that's taking place as we speak, right?
Yeah, and we the good thing is that we know we have 2 games left and we control our destiny. And so we're trying to really stay focused on. We got 2 games with Meadowdale next week, and we just want to get that first win on Monday and take it game by game and see where we're at. But you got not just 3 average teams. You got three teams, and we've all been league rivals for the last several years and been battling in playoff games. And it's amazing. All three schools are schools that have recently been to state, and it's no joke. Our league was extremely difficult this year, and I think in fast pitch they're seeing the same thing where we had 2 teams, Edmonds Woodway and Linwood, drop into our division, and the playoffs have the same number of teams in them, and so it's just really competitive. I know in baseball there's 6 really good teams in the South for 4 playoff spots, and as you said, 3 that are guaranteed. So it's really competitive, but that's really why we play. That's why we do it. We want to be in those situations. That's where we grow and learn and learn how to compete. So
Sure, as Kira Doan walking on the play, and Maya Kopp is going to get her first at bat of the game, the freshman, wearing the number 40. And, let's get into what's happening right now a little bit more. So Glacier Peak is playing Edmonds Woodway as we speak. And your last report was that Glacier Peak, obviously the team that you need to lose. Edmonds Woodway currently in 6th place, and they mathematically are already eliminated.
I believe they are, yeah.
So you're rooting for them to obviously beat Glacier Peak, and right now they are ahead. Is that right?
The last note I got was that they're ahead, but there's still some ball game left there. So.
And do we know anything about the Meadowdale's playing right now as well, right?
Meadowdale's playing Shorecrest, and I would be surprised. I think Meadowdale will probably take care of that one. So, but regardless, I think we go into next week with a lot on the line.
Yeah, and obviously Shorewood is going to be playing Glacier Peak. Shorewood is a team that was ranked number 1 in the state for a while until your team beat them.
And they got a very big game tonight with Linwood, where the winner I think will have a best chance to win our division.
So I guess from the standpoint of you need Shorewood to beat Glacier Peak, or that would certainly help you anyway in your cause. Kind of nice that Linwood's pushing them for that number 1 spot, because really for Shorewood there's no let up knowing that they want to try to win their division, right?
Yeah, but I don't think in our league we're all so competitive. I don't think there's any let up anyways.
Kopp thrown out at first base, 2 away.
And with the playoffs right around the corner, I know everybody wants to be playing their best baseball this time of year. So.
How fun is it for you too? And maybe not fun may not be the right word, as I know it's stressful for you, but if it does come down to that Tuesday game, and again, shameless plug for us, we're going to be broadcasting it right here at the school on Sound Live Sports Network. But going up against a team like Meadowdale, it's a district rival, 2 schools that know each other very well, and I'm sure Bill Hummel's been the coach there for a while now. 2 guys who know each other fairly, and you and Bill you seem to be pretty cordial with each other. Friends maybe even at that. Kind of interesting for you two to maybe watch that last game of the season come down to whether or not one team makes the playoffs or not.
Yeah, and that's a scenario that was almost predictable, that these games were going to be a big deal. So when you looked at the schedule, I mean, you just almost knew they were going to be for something, and so we'll see. I just know that we'll know a better picture when we go into that last game for sure.
Costello makes the catch, so we've come to the end of the 4th inning. 1 inning to go here. 19-2, Meadowdale in the lead. When we come back, we'll continue our interview with Andrew Waters, the head baseball coach for Mountlake Terrace High School. You're watching the Sound Live Sports Network.
Are you a whiz in filmmaking? Do you want to become extraordinary in filmmaking? Then come to Shoreline Community College and work with Shoreline Productions, where you will learn to transform your work in teams of working professionals and students to create enchanting effects such as green screen, text animation, and so much more. So come to Shoreline Community College, where you can mystify and dazzle in filmmaking.
Sound Live Sports Network production services are provided by the Broadcast Field Production class, a CTE intra-district course. If you are a student in the Edmonds School District, you can be part of the exciting world of live sports production. Learn about broadcast announcing, broadcast engineering, and sports reporting while providing a valuable service to your community. Contact your school counselor today to find out more and sign up for Broadcast Field Productions.
And welcome back to the Sound Alive Sports Network, live from Mountlake Terrace High School. Steve Willits along with the baseball coach at Mountlake Terrace, Andrew Waters. And leading off the fifth inning, that is number 14, Mackenzie Bevan popping out to second base, where Caradone is now playing. We've shifted a few different players around. Wilcox over at third. Looks like Ruiz is still at short. Fitzgerald now over playing first base. Kopp is now playing catcher. Andrew, you and I were just talking a minute ago. You just got a text on your phone. Edmonds Woodway apparently has defeated Glacier Peak tonight, 10-0. Congratulations to you on that. That's good news for you. But again, nothing's over. Nothing has been decided by that game. But certainly that helps. As now it means Mountlake Terrace and Meadowdale have a one-game lead on Glacier Peak. The ball is hit out to center field, where Sammy Harder gets underneath it and puts it away for 2 outs. So certainly, if Mountlake Terrace and Meadowdale can, if you were to split next week, you both win one game on Monday, one on Tuesday, and assuming that Glacier Peak doesn't sweep Shorewood, which would be a very difficult task in itself, that would mean that you would both be in as you'd be third, fourth place. Would there be, how would the tiebreaker be determined at that point?
If we ended up in that scenario, we would. We already have one win on Meadowdale, so if we split, we would win the season series
2-1.
2-1, and so we would have a tiebreaker over them in that scenario. So, certainly that's how that, or even better, is how we'd want to play it out for us. So, no question about it. So we'd like to be in that third slot.
1, 2, 3 inning for Mountlake Terrace as they get out of it here. So we head to the bottom of the fifth. We'll keep it right here. And if Mountlake Terrace is not able to score.
Steve, you talk about what you want to see in a game like this.
Sure.
You want to see an inning like that last one.
Builds confidence.
It's a good inning for Mountlake Terrace. They get a quick inning, and it's a feel-good inning. And really what you're trying to do is build momentum for your next contest. You want to see the players that are out there finish strong, and you can't do anything about what happened the first 3 innings. So.
Well, and certainly these are two teams that are not scheduled to play each other during the regular season anymore, but two teams that could, in fact, wind up playing each other in districts, and you want to have that confidence to know that you can go toe-to-toe with them at some point, if need be, as Gregoric is going to try to finish out this game. And as long as she can keep Mountlake Terrace under 8 runs in the bottom half of the fifth, this game will come to an end. So 16 years for you here at Mountlake Terrace. Still enjoying the job?
Yeah. I mean, we've got a great team this year. I enjoy the players a lot. They're a lot of fun, and they've been working hard. So I hope we have a good payoff next week when we earn a playoff spot. That's just such a big deal. And but yeah, I wouldn't be out here if I didn't still love it. So. It's been a fun run. It's sad to see our good friend Coach Umayam step down, but hey, I understand that too. It's a tough, it's a lot of time, and it's a tough thing to keep doing. But I think that us guys that went to Terrace, we have a lot of pride in what's going on out here, and I still have that, and that's why I'm still here.
Gregoric fields that one, throws it over to first. 1 away here in the fifth inning as Fitzgerald is retired. Jazz Zink steps to the plate. Well, tell us a little bit about your team right now. What are obviously very good starting pitching right now. A couple of you guys in particular having monster years right now.
Yeah, our 3 starters have been good. As of late, I think they've been really tough. Ben Rainan's been outstanding. And last week against Shorecrest, all 3 guys just did a great job. And when we played Shorewood the week before, we had great starting pitching all week and had a chance to really win all those games. And so I'm really proud of those guys. And Raiden Silva has been a nice reliever for us. And early in the season, he really kept us in it by getting some wins for us in relief. And I think at one time he was 3-0. So it's been a group effort with the pitching staff. And I think offensively, I think we're starting to get there. It's been tough at times, but I think we got some guys that are starting to come around, and hopefully we can put some runs on the board here to finish things off.
Zink strikes out, so we're now 1 out away from this game coming to a conclusion, as trying to keep it alive is Sammy Ruiz. And yeah, I think we were doing the math at one point, or I shouldn't say we, meaning myself and a couple of the parents were talking, and I think heading into that Shorecrest game, you were only averaging, I think it was like 2.9 runs per game this season, and got double figures in all 3 of those games. That certainly has to help the confidence of your hitters.
Yeah, and I think that it's been a process. I think I've been playing a lot of different guys, and we've been trying to figure it out. And I think that I think we're getting there, though, and I think that our top guys are starting to really step up at the right time. And I'd rather have it now than back then. So I think since the Edmonds Woodway series, offensively we've been much better. I think we had opportunities against Shorewood to get more runs. We had some guys on base, and we just couldn't get a clutch hit. But baseball's like that sometimes. So
we've got a lot of folks listening that are obviously Meadowdale fans, being that we're doing a Meadowdale game here, and that's your opponent for the next 2 games. What kind of a team is Meadowdale right now?
They're very good. They have they've always had a good pitching staff. We've only seen them 1 game, but Elliot Reese is a very tough pitcher, and he played us really tough the first go around, and they got a catcher that's a really good hitter, and they're just a really tough opponent. Good coaching and everything.
Well, Andrew, hey, we certainly appreciate you coming on, and looking forward to next Tuesday, as this game just came to an end as Ruiz is thrown out at first base. Final score 19-2. All Meadowdale, but hey, continued success for you guys, and we are looking forward to broadcasting that game on Tuesday, and hope it would be nice if we could see both Meadowdale and Mountlake Terrace make districts next week.
Yeah, that would be good.
That'd be great.
Steve.
So hey, Andrew, thanks you again. Appreciate it. We'll let you go, and we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have an interview with our player of the game and wrap things up. Once again, the final score: Meadowdale 19, Mountlake Terrace 2. You're watching the Sound Alive Sports Network. It's on? Yeah. Test 1, 2. Are we on the air?
Oh, I can hear you perfect.
Test 1, 2.
Are you a whiz in filmmaking? Do you want to become extraordinary in filmmaking? Then come to Shoreline Community College and work with Shoreline Productions, where you will learn to transform your work in teams of working professionals and students, to create enchanting effects such as green screen, text animation, and so much more. So come to Shoreline Community College, where you can mystify and dazzle in filmmaking.
Sound Live Sports Network production services are provided by the Broadcast Field Production Class, a CTE intra-district course. If you are a student in the Edmonds School District, you can be part of the exciting world of live sports production. Learn about broadcast announcing, broadcast engineering, and sports reporting while providing a valuable service to your community. Contact your school counselor today to find out more and sign up for Broadcast Field Productions.
Coming up here is with me here. Picture of this first. And welcome back to the Sound Live Sports Network. Looking over at Ian to make sure that we've got audio. We do, and we are with our player of the game, Sam Gregoric. My gosh, I messed up here. We got to make sure we get your name right because I know you've got Grandpa watching back in Montana. You want to say hi to Grandpa first?
Hi, Grandpa.
So we've got Grandpa watching in Montana, everybody here in Washington watching as you pitched a heck of a game today. Final score 19-2, and really it's been a great season for you overall. You didn't pitch much your first couple of years in the program, obviously with Alyssa Rubel here your freshman year. Do you enjoy pitching more than you enjoy playing the field?
Yeah, for select, I really don't actually pitch, but I actually love pitching in high school. Like, I just get, like, this great feeling about just, I love my team, and, like, they always have my back, and, like, I don't know, it's just something about them. I think my team really supports me more than anything, so that's why I love pitching.
Well, and I know when we called you over here a minute ago, and you've got teammates even making faces at you right now, so they really support you. They were chanting Sam's Club and everything else. So what kind of a team is this year?
I would say these are probably one of my closest friends. We're all best friends. We all love each other, and the chemistry is really deep here, and that's what I think why we're just doing so well. So.
Now, what's going on at the plate? Because I've noticed 7 of the last 8 games Meadowdale's played in, they've scored double figures. Not that you weren't hitting early in the season, but you guys have really turned it on lately. Any adjustments you've made? Is everybody just getting more comfortable? What's the biggest thing you can attribute that to?
Just base hits. That's all we're thinking. Our philosophy is we don't think to hit over the fence. We think base hits. That's what gets us going. That's what makes us score. So. And
I've got to think from a pitching standpoint, it gives you a lot more confidence knowing that you're probably going to get 9, 10, 11, or maybe 19 runs even in a game. It's going to make your job easier on the mound, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they really have my back, and I have theirs.
So now 12-2 overall in the season. Playoffs are not too far away. Is it hard right now to focus on the regular season, knowing that districts are right around the corner?
No, I think if we just keep doing what we're doing, we're.
Sam's Club is in full effect as the players are walking by here.
That's actually a new thing. Just happened today.
There we go. We've coined a new phrase. So again, it sounds like the districts you're ready to go for those.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really excited to see what we're gonna do. Hopefully do well in districts and hopefully do well in state. So that's what I'm thinking.
And we talked about it a little bit during our broadcast. We broadcasted a game 2 years ago, your freshman year, where you hit a 3-run home run to win the district championship game. Essentially, you've got to have a lot of confidence going in, knowing that you did that as a freshman, right?
Yeah, that was probably one of my greatest softball days ever. I loved that game. I don't know, just everything about this team, everything about this school. I'm just really proud of everything.
So again, final score 19-2, and Sam knows a thing or two about districts and about state. The team's been there 3 years in a row. Yep. You obviously too. So you're looking forward to maybe getting back to Lacey, right?
Yep, definitely. I'm excited.
So there we go. So again, our final score 19-2. Samantha Gregoric is the winning pitcher and scored a few times as well, and she's going to take home our Sound Live Sports Network Player of the Game shirt as Ian Hentz takes another picture of that. Sam, you get to keep the shirt. Best of luck to you the rest of the way, and I'm sure we'll see you and your teammates in districts and maybe even further on down the road.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so once again, final score 19-2. We're going to sign off right now. So for Ian Hentz, for Angelo Camo, everybody else involved with the broadcast, Erica, who was helping out with the camera, and for Samantha for pitching a heck of a ball game, we appreciate everybody watching. You've been watching Sound Live Sports Network. Have a good night.
Sound Live Sports Network production services are provided by the Broadcast Field Production Class, a CTE intra-district course. If you are a student in the Edmonds School District, you can be part of the exciting world of live sports production. Learn about broadcast announcing, broadcast engineering, and sports reporting while providing a valuable service to your community. Contact your school counselor today to find out more and sign up for Broadcast Field Productions.